Hey, I got these truth burgers, man. Want some?
No,
You can't handle the truth.
I just want to be in my safe space.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are in an age when we don't know how much we don't know. It's a world lacking logic, instead driven by emotions while ignoring the facts. From gender being a costume that you could put on and take off whenever you feel like and not a biological reality, to men and women being equals in strength and not limited by, significant differences in muscle mass.
I am the strongest woman this state has ever seen.
To feelings being a better alternative than fact. But one age-old question we had on our minds is, what exactly is masculinity? What exactly is this awful poison we call testosterone that makes pure feminine men turn into heart-eating barbarians? Well, have no fear, because Netflix is here to explain. From the streaming service that brought you conservative classics such as Cuties and will eventually bring you the reimagined Batman in the future, comes the explanation of toxic masculinity, the power of the dog.
Set in 1925 Montana, two wealthy ranch-owning brothers, Phil, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, and George Burbank, played by Jesse Plemons, meet a widow named Rose, played by Kirsten Dunst. Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus!
Wow, I apologize, but I didn't expect that level of aging. Anyhow, let me try again.
Jesus of Nazareth!
So anyways, they meet past her prime, Kirsten, or Rose in this movie, during a cattle drive. George falls for this single old mom, but the red-pilled Phil has none of it. He dislikes her and her effeminate son, Peter, and displays what Netflix shows to be his masculinity.
Rode him back. Flew over.
Because according to Netflix, masculinity equals being an asshole, apparently.
Are you purposefully trying to use words that assert your male privilege?
George and Rose get married in Netflix's bid to show that single moms with an alcohol problem are still worth the attention of successful men, I guess.
Oh, this song is about me!
Phil reacts by displaying the common traits of masculinity because being emotional and petty is definitely masculine behavior. Thanks, Netflix.
Thanks!
He spends time in his room, belittles Rose's piano skills, and says over-the-top shit like,
I stink, and I like it.
Oh, I love trash!
because proper hygiene is definitely not a masculine trait.
Rose and Peter move to the ranch, and Phil and his men bully the boy. The scenes over at the ranch are overshadowed by some homoerotic vibes.
Our cup runneth over. Jesus Christ.
And Phil cannot hold his tongue from praising his late mentor, Bronco Henry.
Bronco kept me alive by lying body against body in a bedroll. Fell off to sleep that way.
Naked.
He's kinda gay. I don't know, man.
According to this movie, if you act masculine, you're most likely unsure about your own sexuality. Anyways, Peter wanders into a clearing and finds a stash of magazines with Bronco Henry's name on them, depicting nude men. Phil also shows why you should never trust him with your scarf.
Phil notices Peter and chases him off. He makes amends with Peter in the very next scene. Absolutely no proper build up to it, but fuck it, we need to make a story about these two, so why not? He offers to make him a lasso from rawhide and teaches him how to ride a horse. Peter gets good enough to one day ride out on his own. He finds a dead cow and starts cutting off pieces of its hide. Phil and Peter ride out one day and, well, they really begin to bond. Peter and Phil bond by talking about some more homoerotic masculine shit.
Dude! The fuck are you doing?
Netflix is also there to show some more effects of toxic masculinity when Peter says his alcoholic dad hung himself.
Then he hung himself. I found him, put him down.
Probably because he didn't anticipate his wife to age so badly.
Back at the ranch house, Rose is more drunk than a Russian stranded in a brewery in the middle of Siberia.
What?
and gives Phil's hides to local Native American traders because despite being drunk, she remembers that Phil burns them if he has no use for it himself. Gotta write that in somehow to protect the heavenly blessed portrayal of women. Otherwise, she would have come off as being pretty selfish for giving away his shit, and in today's go-girl power environment, we can't afford that, can we?
Phil is naturally pissed to find this out and reacts in a totally masculine way by throwing a fit, threats, and crying. Nothing says masculine like emotions taking control of ya. Anyhow, Peter calms Phil down by offering him his own hide that he cut off from the dead cow infected by anthrax. Phil and Peter spend the night together in the barn where Phil finishes Peter's rope as his blood from his fencing accident mixes in the water with the infected hide. Phil grows sick and dies. None of this makes us feel any better as this lanky little fuck Peter is shown smiling at the end.
I've got rawhide to finish the rope.
You know what I'm thinking? Anthrax.
But he never handled diseased animals. He was particular on that.
You killed him!
Apparently masculinity, at least the weird depiction of it through emotional Phil, deserves no mercy whatsoever.
We're gonna burn down the patriarchy.
In the end, the power of the dog is shot very well, especially when it comes to the landscapes. The performances are somewhat solid, but the story is a clusterfuck of events.
And the portrayal of masculinity is pathetically laughable and over-the-top nonsense. It's an over-exaggeration of it, a parody. It would be like having this guy portray what a gay man is supposed to be.
That's not an anus. That's my anus, baby girl. Oh, I see. So you don't want to see a close-up picture of my anus because you hate gay men.
Masculinity is anything but being a petty, emotional dickwad who's also jealous of his own brother. The Power of the Dog portrays masculinity like a comedy skit. It's a tired story filled with cliches on toxic masculinity and how if you act too manly, you must be hiding something about your sexuality.
And we get that this film is supposed to be addressing toxic masculinity, but what is the idea of positive masculinity then? Sure as fuck can't be George. The dude is a useless character who adds nothing to the movie besides some lines about how sad and depressed he is or used to be.
Sad? What is it, George?
I just want to say how nice it is not to be alone.
Calm down, bro.
You're a pussy.
Rose's character is also annoying and just so damn indecisive that you feel like giving her Stone Cold Stunner after her first few scenes.
I know, isn't she supposed to be a strong woman? I mean, that's usually how woke flicks writes their female characters. Instead, all she does is mope around and get easily triggered by Phil.
Stunning. She is absolutely beautiful and an inspiration.
Yep, that's right.
The story behind Phil and Bronco Henry is also weird. A teenage Phil apparently had a sexual relationship with a middle-aged man in Bronco. Definitely open for dark interpretations.
I'm going to take some pictures of each of you naked.
Peter causing Phil's death in a bid to help protect his mother after her abusive relationship with her alcoholic, deceased husband is insane. But when it comes to promoting feminist narratives of pushing it to the evil man, anything goes, I guess. Even happily watching your boyfriend burn to death. The film's depiction of using over-the-top masculinity as a cover for homosexual undertones has been done many times before. Plus, having these homoerotic scenes supposedly take place in old western Montana is as legit as a Starbucks in fucking Mars. Hell, even Sam Elliott mustered the last bits of strength in his old age to speak about this nonsense, saying the film was packed with over-exaggerated homoerotic scenes. But of course the media dismissed his thoughts as hateful and being insecure, and I mean, what the hell does Elliott know about making western films? He's only been doing them his whole career. I guess being so old and done sort of gave Sam the bravery to say his piece before he's sacrificed by the woke mob.
That movie struck a chord with me. I wasn't very articulate about it, and I said some things that hurt people, and I feel terrible about that. I'm sorry that I hurt any of those friends.
Stop being such a pussy, okay, pal? Fuck.
Anyways, at the end of the day, who the hell are we to judge the wise and all-knowing writers of Netflix movies? Thankfully, we could count on the Academy to disregard identity politics and agenda and just judge the film for what it is. Right?
The Power of the Dog has emerged as the lead contender for this year's Oscar nominations. The Western film, directed by Jane Campion, took 12 nominations.
And the Oscar goes to Jane Campion. Power of the Dog.
Oh, fuck it. We give up.
No, Will!
And that's all, folks. We are Aiden and Ollie.
And we're our single mom's whole world.
And please, stop swiping left on her Tinder profile.